This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When send past the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Every Wednesday.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. My fault, Tony. I got it started while you was asking me a question. Yeah, we play every Wednesday. Every Wednesday. But ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks played this Wednesday night and didn't play well. Sort of like my team tonight. But we're not here to talk about my team. We're here to break down the New York Knicks. Did not play well tonight. Lost to the Orlando Magic 124-107. Long, lanky team that can play defense. Gave us some trouble tonight. I got my brother Tony Crow, as usual, in the building. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to break this one down to the hilt. You know what I'm saying? Tony, my brother, my Miller, my man. What's popping, bro? How you feeling about tonight's game?
Well, normally a loss gets me super down. Surprisingly, I'm not, down in the dumpsters. Wish we would have won it. But overall, you know what I mean? It just wasn't a good game from the start, from the beginning. It felt like Orlando came in with more urgency, more effort, more toughness, if you will, or let me rephrase the toughness, more physicality, and we didn't match it, we didn't exceed it, and you know what I mean. Like we didn't really deserve to win this.
Let me ask you,
you know what I mean?
Is this going back to what we discussed earlier with the Knicks and not being, being a team that doesn't play with edge, not aggressive? Or do you think it is a little more of Orlando was, a little bit more desperate because of their record and they have some expectations as to, what type of team they should be. And then the Knicks, coming off of games where they've been blowing people out, maybe relaxed a little bit, thinking, you need these games sometimes that sends a message to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You send a message to yourself like, yeah, we can't just float through games. We got to go win them. You know what I mean? Which one do you think it is?
I'm not panicking, so I don't think this is them reverting back to some of the things we questioned earlier. I think it's more one game. You know what I mean? I really didn't want to even mention the whole back-to-back thing, but I know at some point it would be brought up. Mm-hmm. So I'll just get that out the way. Maybe I don't want to say they even overlooked the Magic, but I'm definitely sure they knew what their record was. It looked like they knew Bane wasn't shooting well from three because they just left him open. You know what I mean? Like they're like continuously. So yeah, I wouldn't say they reverted back. I think it's just one game. I think they'll bounce back. I think the fact that OG has been more aggressive for like the past 3 games prior to tonight, Cat as well. I think they have to know what helped them win. And these guys didn't, they was tough defensively, Orlando. So it wasn't like they really got deep into the paint either to kind of go up strong. I think OG might have got in the paint one time and he threw it out to the corner. It ended up being a missed 3, but I think that was the one opportunity he might have been able to go up strong like he's been doing.
Right. Do you think it's a testament to, during that stretch where the Knicks weren't really, when they had that 3-game losing streak, one of the things that concerned me was that when a team decides to play tough against us, we're not able to match that energy. Do you think this is an example of that? A team, they, you know what, we can out tough them. And if we play tough, they won't play tough.
Yes, but I think it has to be, it can't be, I don't think that could be the strategy for any team. Like, I
Okay.
think that
Right.
team has to naturally be that. You
Naturally
know what I
be
mean?
that.
Similar
Yeah,
to
I
what we
agree.
were, 2-3 years ago.
Right.
Like that was our
That was
identity.
right.
You know what I mean? I think Orlando has that in them. And they're more of a surprise in that area for me personally. But I think Detroit has that as well. You know what I mean? And shout out to Shuttle because he's been screaming those are the two teams that he, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He don't really want to match up with.
Right.
And I think Detroit showed that last year. And you could go back to last year regular season. Orlando has been a problem for us. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? There's
They have.
guys
They have.
at multiple positions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They've definitely been a problem for us over the last few years. I agree. I don't think the Knicks have reverted back, and I do agree. I don't think that any team can just come in and decide to play rough. I don't know if any team can just decide to play rough if it's not in their DNA anyway. You know what I mean? I'm hoping that this is just a message to themselves. You know what I mean? That regardless, okay, you're at home, you've been home for a while, and you're winning, but you still got to show up and play. You know what I'm saying? You still got to be aggressive. How much do you think the homestand plays into it, right? You're home for a long time. Sometimes just taking a little road trip keeps you alert, keeps you on edge. You're home, you're eating your home cooking, and you know what I'm saying, you relax a little bit. What do you think?
No, again, I hate to even say it, but I would attribute more to the back to back than just being comfortable at home. I would attribute Orlando knowing we're undefeated at home and having an extra edge to kind of want to give us our first home loss. And our streak. You know what I mean? Like, so I think those are motivating factors on the opposing team.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that to discredit them because I think they are a tough matchup for us.
Yeah. I'm getting a message right now. Got a message. Some of you may already know. We seen Jalen Brunson fall. Was it third quarter? Right.
Fourth
Quarter. Was it fall and kind of hurt his ankle? I don't know. Was it third, fourth? Maybe it was fourth quarter. Fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was the end of the fourth quarter, end of the game.
Yeah. Close to the end of the game. Jalen Brunson left MSG in a walking boot and crutches. Hopefully, it's nothing serious and it's just
precautionary.
That maybe he twisted it a little bit and they just don't want him to put pressure on it right now. Hopefully, that's all that it is.
I'll tell you one thing. I know watching it live. The announcer was like he was shaking his head no to the coach and his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And they like, we don't know if that was no, I don't take me out, or you know what I mean? No, this ain't good.
Right.
Right.
That's the last thing we need. You know what I mean? Last thing we need. I got JJ from Brooklyn on the line. All right. Let's get JJ up. JJ, what's poppin' with you, my brother? How you feeling?
What's good, fellas? That's rough. Hearing that news.
It is.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So even if, go ahead, my bad.
That's the last thing we need. Right. It's the last thing that we need. Is for him to be out. Listen, it didn't look like he was seriously hurt. I'm thinking, it's more precautionary than anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hope so.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's more precautionary.
I think the problem with it was.
Go ahead, Tom.
Pardon me. I think it happened while he was in stride and kind of pushing off.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm not saying it's serious, but I do expect him, you know what I mean, to maybe miss a game or two because, like, you know what I mean. It wasn't like even landing is probably less dangerous than in stride stepping on somebody's foot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Let's hope.
Right.
JJ.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the game, bro?
Yeah. So, I think this wasn't an ideal matchup on the second night of a back-to-back. I'm not trying to give excuses. I don't do that. It's just it wasn't the ideal matchup. And listen, they're just that size that they have. It's pretty crazy. I mean, they're coming off the bench with Black, who's like a 6'7" guard. De Silva, he's like 6'9". I mean, Batadze, who always seems to do well against us every time. They're just tall, and we didn't match it. Tony basically alluded to it. Like, we didn't match that toughness, It just felt like they wanted to come out and just, say, oh, you guys are undefeated at home. That's cute. We're going to end this. That's kind of what it felt like. Like, they wanted it more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I hate blaming the refs, but it felt like, I don't know. Never mind.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. When a team is more aggressive, they get more calls. It's always been like that. If a team is more aggressive, they get more calls. It's always been that way.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say the refs. Obviously, there's going to be some calls that don't go your way.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to play aggressive every time you step on the floor. And when a team plays aggressive, they get more calls. It's a weird phenomenon, right? You figure if a team plays more aggressive, there would be more calls going against them. But it never happens that way. When a team is aggressive, they seem to get calls. Aggressive going to the basket, they get calls, right? Because now your team is caught reaching in. Instead of playing with their feet. It happens that way. And when they play aggressive on defense, see, when a team plays aggressive on defense, the refs can't call every foul because they can't see every foul, right? They can only call one foul at a time. Mm-hmm. So if everyone's playing aggressive and if everyone is fouling, the ref can only call one, and they might not call any. And then when a team gets that reputation, right? Naturally, how do I want to say it? If you play someplace that's really, really aggressive, that style of play does not become aggressive to you after a while. You're used to it, right? Then when you go someplace else, everyone is like, why does he play so aggressive? And the same thing happens with the refs. When they see teams play and they see their style of play, all of a sudden, that style doesn't become aggressive anymore to them, to their eyes, because they're used to it. So teams create a certain style and the refs get used to that style. And it'll feel like calls are not going your way and the calls are going their way. The Knicks just have to establish that they're an aggressive team as well. And I think they've done that over the last few games. They're going to have some pitfalls. They got to get back. They got to get back on it,
Yeah, they're just not a great match. I'm not saying like we wouldn't beat them if we match up in the playoffs, but like they're just not a great matchup. Like the size they have every position, starters, bench, everywhere.
But that's always scary. I mean, that's always scary to me when a team isn't a good matchup for you, and if you end up having to play them in the playoffs, those matchups are still there. right? There's still not a good matchup for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
So
Yeah. That would be one matchup that probably would try to avoid, somehow.
No. That's something that we got to figure out during the season.
I feel that you
That's
got to
something
figure
that
that
we
out.
got to figure out. You know what I mean?
You don't want to
Where,
Right.
avoid.
how do we play our strengths against? You know what I mean? How do we get our strengths off against them,
Exactly.
or how do we use their strengths
Right.
against them?
Against
You,
them.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
Right.
that's when the coaching comes in.
exactly. The
Right.
coaching has to come in.
Right. It
Yeah.
just felt like it was frustrating in this game because we were making our push in the second half, and it felt like there was one play. I think we were down 12, and Cat makes a nice move. He misses a wide open dunk, and then they got a fast
Mhm.
break three. That was definitely a
Mhm.
huge momentum swing.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of like 10 or 11, it's 14 or 15-point lead or whatever. And then we cut it to 9. The Garden was ready to explode. The loudest defense chant probably all year. And Suggs hits a big three to make it a 12-point game. So, like when you're down that many points, you have to get those timely stops and those timely baskets. And fortunately, we just couldn't really do either, So it happens,
Yeah.
got to bounce back, So,
Yeah, we got to bounce back,
Yeah.
and we're not
Yeah.
going to bounce back in an easy game either. Right?
Especially if
It's going to be a
Brunson's
tough
out,
game, especially if Brunson is out for any amount of time.
So,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're not going to bounce back to
Yeah.
an easy game. It's a tough Miami team.
yeah.
So
Who plays physical?
Although they
Who
did
plays
lose
physical?
tonight versus Cleveland. So,
let me ask you both this:
mhm.
if we come out Friday against Miami and get out toughed, we got out tough tonight. If we get out toughed against Miami, or will you say that? Will you think it's a problem?
Go ahead, Tony. I'll go after you.
Not yet. Not yet. I would hate for it to happen back to back against Miami. You know what I mean? I definitely will be raising my eyes a little bit more then as well. But it also has to do with the type of team Miami is, the type of team they've been historically. We know they're going to be tough. We know they're going to be a physical team. That's embedded in, you know what I mean, in that culture, in that DNA. I don't think there's 10 teams or it might not even be more than 5 teams that have that in them that I would worry about. You know what I mean? So at that point, it becomes a matchup thing that I'm concerned with, not a overall, like you know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
anybody could just,
And
like I was saying before, out tough us,
right.
or out physical.
And I'm not even talking about taking the loss. Right? We lose, we lose. I'm just talking about, from the eye test, we're watching them, and they're just more physical, more aggressive, pushing us around, punking us. Let me say that. You know what I mean? If you see that after you've seen tonight, and then you see that, and then you know the history of when we lost to Miami during the losing streak, and those teams in the losing streak playing more physical than us, and then it happens now back to back against physical teams. So I'm not saying anybody can just be physical, but against physical teams, like will you be worried now that, oh man, when we play these type of teams, we struggle because we don't have the same physicality. If we get out tough.
I guess I would say yes, only because Miami also doesn't have the size overall that kind of really hinders us. You know what I mean? So if they're just doing it with straight physicality, you know what I mean? Like that means we playing soft, straight. You know what I mean? Straight up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I think we got physical guys, we got tough guys. They're just undersized. You know what I mean? Like for the most part, like OG plays above his his size, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I mean. I'm definitely not calling him soft, but it's also not to his advantage to like be guarding 6'10" guys all day, every day. You know what I mean? All game for you know what I mean. Different matchups. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times, his advantage is he's 6'8" and he could play multiple positions, guard multiple positions,
Right.
but to just always be playing up, 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 you know what I mean? Like that's daunting on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, Josh Hart's tough. He's undersized. Deuce is tough. He undersized. You know what I mean? So I think when you add that size to it,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes that's when it really, you know what I mean? Like that's when it becomes the matchup thing that really bothers me.
Mm.
I don't think, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think we soft. I just think we don't have, you know, big, tall, strong guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys are playing up most of the time.
All right. So if that's the
Yeah.
case, then there's a point to roster construction.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so
Absolutely.
I agree.
okay, and then if we can't beat these teams, then you know maybe we need to fix that.
Yes.
Mm.
But I also think it goes to coaching too. Like, find a way, figure out a way. You know what I mean? Like, you a lot of that is schematically, like tonight. Not only are those guys tall and it becomes a disadvantage even with the OGs and stuff, but when you constantly getting caught on with you know Brunson guarding that guy, it becomes worse. You know what I mean? Like Clarkson guarding that 6'10" guy, it becomes worse.
Yeah.
So it also becomes like that's defensive schematics now. That's you know what I mean? Like we didn't see the zone we didn't see the zone tonight. You know what I mean? Which might have kept Brunson and the guards out the paint or out the post defending. You know what I mean? So I think there's other ways to do it too. And this is not a knock on Brown right now. You know what I mean? I'm just pointing out things that I
I
saw.
get it. I get it. Okay, JJ, what do you think?
Yeah.
Same question.
Yeah. Listen. I think. All right. So. Yeah, I think we're gonna struggle versus physical. I don't think it's in our DNA. Like we don't. Like Tony said. Like we don't. It's not so much that we're soft. We just don't have those bruising physical bodies. Like Brunson, Bridges. He's 100 pounds. OG's probably our most physical player, and he was guarding Wagner tonight, who's what 6'10", 6'11", and he kind of had his way with OG for the most part. We just don't have the players. Like I think it's just the roster, the way it's built.
And how much
Like
of
if we match up, yeah.
how much of that is an issue? That's my question.
Well, there's not that many teams like Orlando, but if we do match up with Orlando in the playoffs, I'd say my concern would be pretty high. I would say that, it's just a matchup thing. Like, playoffs. It's all about matchup, right? So, I just think we're more of a finesse team. I just feel like a lot of our, I guess you could say, tough physical players are gone. Randall, Hartenstein, right? Even Chenzo for a little guy. He was gritty, tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different makeup of the team now. When you get Cad and Bridges, I'm not trying to go at those guys, but it just is what it is.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I want us to be able to beat anybody.
yeah, I
right?
agree.
And if we're saying, I mean, physical teams will obviously, we're saying physical teams are going to give us a problem, which makes it a little scary that those physical teams,
Right.
When we get into the playoffs, we may not be able to handle those physical teams.
I don't want it to sound like I don't think we could beat the Magic in a playoff series, because I still think we could beat them in a playoff series. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's gonna
yeah.
look similar to how we beat Detroit. You know what I mean? Like it's not gonna be
Right.
pretty. It's not gonna be blowouts. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it might not even be in 5. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
we could have lost a couple of those games too, but we found a
Yeah.
way at the end. Here's the difference, though. Nah, I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought that was a great comparison, Tony. Those two teams. Yeah, it would be kind of similar to like Detroit. 6, maybe even 7. Like we would just have to win probably based off talent. So yeah, I think that would be a similar type of series. Tough, gritty.
Yeah. Okay.
Hard nosed.
And playoff series is
Yeah.
they're like that anyway. They're supposed to be that way. That's what they
Right.
are.
Exactly.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
Okay, JJ, I appreciate your time, brother.
All right, appreciate it, guys. You guys be good, man.
All right, peace.
JJ. Sim, I got a question. What? All right, I must name one thing that I noticed tonight, and tell me if you agree or don't agree, or am I overreacting? It felt like Mike Brown even panicked tonight too. Because I think it was like an overall, like you could point to so many things, the turnovers in the first quarter. You know what I mean? I think Josh Hart might have had like 3 in a row. In the fourth quarter, Deuce McBride had 2 turnovers in a row in the midst of us getting 2 stops and cutting the lead to 14. You know what I mean? So if he don't, you know what I mean, it nullified the stops we got. You know what I mean? And then it didn't even cut into the lead while we had cut it to 14. But Mike Brown's he was a little frantic-y in his substitution patterns late in trying to. I mean, obviously she's trying to figure out things to pull this win. You know what I mean? But you seen him pull Bridges out, put him back in, pull him out. You know what I mean? Like it seemed like he was a little rattled himself. Obviously people. I know somebody's gonna mention Brunson being in that late. You know what I mean? Like, and obviously with the news you said. So, what's your thoughts on?
I think
did he look like he was rattled as well, or scrambling?
I don't. Yeah, scrambling. I think scrambling, and I think that's just part of knowing your team right now. You know what I'm saying? It's early, so now you get into a game like this. 45 more games, he'll have an idea of which lineups can string together a comeback, right? Which players, have that grit that can pull it out. Right now, he's kind of learning it. So, you would figure, he's okay. Who do I play in this situation? You know what I'm saying? Or which lineups work in this situation? Because in different situations, different lineups are going to work better. Some are going to work worse. And so he was probably grasping at straws, trying to figure out, scrambling, like you said a little bit, trying to figure out, which lineups, who can give me a spark, anything, and part of that is learning your basketball team. Figuring out who does what and who's able to give you that spark and which lineups, do you use in situations. So I think that's part of it. So I don't know if he was panicked, but scrambling, yes. Well, part of it is figuring out the lineup. So let's say 35 games from now, we're in that same situation. It might look a little different with the way that he's substituting and stuff.
And like I'm watching the game. I see him bring Bridges in, and immediately, the ball ends up in his hand for open 3. I know, he says he's still not doing plays yet, but it was just interesting how he brought him in and he got the open 3. And then the very next possession, he pulled him out, and I think went back with Deuce. I think he went back with Deuce. But it was crazy because Deuce wasn't really playing no better either.
Yeah. I mean,
tonight.
I think the thing with Deuce that keeps him on the floor is toughness. He's tough character. You know what I'm saying? And in a game where you need toughness, you want to have tough players out there on the floor. You know, and I'm not saying Bridges can't be tough, but maybe he just felt like, he wanted Deuce there, and that was the guy he chose. Because there was, when you looked at the lineups on the floor at the end, when the Knicks were trying to mount a comeback, it was a little choppy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little choppy.
I mean, by that time, I think Cat had 5 fouls. Brunson had 5 fouls.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I think he was not even, like, he was going back and forth with them two, on and off, not on at the same time or whatever.
I mean, and
he was in a weird situation too.
To be fair, Deuce shot a little better than Bridges. Bridges was 3 for 9 from the field. Deuce was 3 for 8, but he was 2 for 5 from 3. Bridges was 0 for 3 from the 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
Bridges still got more minutes. Yeah, Bridges still got more minutes, 27 minutes. Deuce had 20 minutes. Looking at the Spree, I'm going to get to you in a minute. We got Spree on the line. Just looking at the box score, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's been up for a little while. You've probably seen it. 31 points for Jalen Brunson, 10 for 23 shots for Jalen Brunson, well above anybody close to him. Cat was the next one in line, 15 shot attempts for Cat, 15 points, 12 rebounds for Karl-Anthony Towns. Really didn't shoot the ball well. He was 40% from the field. 11 points for Josh Hart, 9 points for Deuce McBride. I'm sorry, 10 points for Josh Hart, 11 points for Landry Shamet. OG Anunoby, 8 points. Mitchell Robinson, 2 points, 8 rebounds. Mikal Bridges only had 6 points. Not a lot of help out there tonight for Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. In the scoring department, the Knicks scored 107 points tonight. Jordan Clarkson, only 5 points. He was 2 for 5. Shot 40% from the field. Yabusele had 6 points. You talked earlier, just about, we were talking about shot attempts and things. Brunson had 23 shot attempts tonight. The other night, everything was 17, 19, right? Nicely even spread across the board. Tonight, not as much. 23 shot attempts for Brunson, 15 for Karl-Anthony Towns, 10 for Josh Hart, the only 3 in double digits in shot attempts. Not the same. Only 88 shots tonight for the Knicks. The Orlando Magic, they slowed the Knicks down some. Only 36 3-pointers tonight, 55 the other night. Right, so Orlando found a way to slow them down some. Any thoughts about Brunson, taking so many more shots than anybody else on the team tonight?
I think shots got turned down. I think shots also got stopped. You know what I mean? But because the defense was there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we turned the ball over. You know what I mean? Like I'm for me, no, because logically he's gonna have more shots in a situation like this because he's one of the few guys that can create his own shot,
right?
And doesn't need anyone else to kind of get him going,
right?
I got a question real quick, and then you, if Spree wants to answer as well.
Mm-hmm.
How concerned? We talked about toughness or physicality, whatever. What about the mental toughness aspect of it? Because tonight I thought that was a huge factor as well.
Yeah.
The refs was in our head all game long.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, and not just Cat. You know what I mean? Cat was probably the most demonstrative. Brunson, you know what I mean? You see him doing the eyes to the ref, like the goggles to the ref, like you ain't see the foul.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know what I mean? Like he was getting into it with the refs. The Knicks were not only being out physical by the Magic, but you know what I mean? Like they was mentally, going at it with the refs and not in the game. You know what I mean? Brunson didn't really get mad and go off until late, but
Right.
they was. What's your thoughts on that part? Mental toughness.
Yeah, mental toughness, man. We've got to be able to hold it together, right? When you start to, when another team sees you starting to complain to the refs like that, they know, all right, we got them. They crybabies. They're not tough enough. That's what's going on in their mind. You know what I mean? You just gotta be stone faced, try to stay even keel. You know what I'm saying? Because that keeps you so you don't get emotional. Because it's like when you get emotional, you get irrational, and then now it's hard to think the game when you have to think the game, and your decisions become irrational. You know what I'm saying? You got to stay even. And it still might not go your way, but it's just always good practice. Stay even, And so I do think we're learning some lessons in mental toughness. You know what I mean? And this is one where Mike Brown can say, hey, we've got to be up here every single game. Every time we step on the floor, we can't let the refs take us out the game. We can't let another team's physicality take us out the game. We just have to be tough. We showed that kind of toughness in the playoffs last year, right? So we've got to reach back into that and then make that part of just who we are. Kev says some of the complaining was warranted, but that's not even why we lost. Here's my thing about it, about complaining to the refs. I think
It's the next call now.
Say that again.
They're gonna miss the next call now.
Yeah, have you ever in your life seen a player complain to the ref and then the ref change the call? No, they're not going to change the call. Right now, I understand talking to the ref. Find a way to say, hey, I got slapped, this and that, because, players think, if I complain to the refs, they're going to start to make calls for me. Usually that doesn't happen. As a matter of fact, it might go opposite. If you're getting on their nerves, they're like, you know what, I'm going to get your ass out of here. Right? And so now they're calling more calls against you.
Yeah, nothing's going to slide now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to let anything.
On your side.
I'm not going to let anything slide. You know what I'm saying? If you know how to approach and talk to the refs, get your point across and then keep it moving. But you stand up and you're throwing your hands in the air and come on and all of this stuff. You're wasting time. The other team is going down scoring and the refs still ain't making a change. They're still not changing the call. And you're sitting there complaining. You got to play ball. You know what I'm saying? And that's the mental toughness part. You know what I mean? You got to know how to, catch the ref on a break, this and that. Say, hey, man, on that call, you missed it because boom, 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 boom. Right? And a lot of times they'll be like, okay, I got you. Trust, I've been there. I have been there where I've talked to the ref and they say, next time, you know what? I might have missed that call. Next time you go to the basket, I'm going to call it for you. And gone to the basket and didn't get touched and they called it. Of course, those are amateur refs, but that doesn't mean the referees in the NBA aren't human and wouldn't do the same type of thing. They might not say, go to the basket, I'm going to call it for you because...
I'll look out for it. I'll
watch for it. I'll look for it. I'll pay attention. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But when you're doing all the histrionics, the rest don't care. And they're not changing the call. You know what I mean? So, I think part of being mentally tough is knowing how to approach the rest, but you still got to play the game. You know what I'm saying? You can't compound a missed call with giving up an open shot. That's one thing. I got Spree on the line. Spree, what's happening with you, brother? How you feeling?
I'm not feeling very good, Sim.
What
a difference 24-hour makes since I last spoke with you.
Ain't that song?
But
what a difference.
Yeah. Tony, what's up, man?
What up, Spree?
Hey, man, it was painful. I mean, I get it. The Magic are physical. I get all that. I'm totally with you. You can't whine to the refs. If anything, my philosophy for the reason you talked about, Sim, is I agree. The refs aren't going to look fondly when you complain. If anything, if there was really an egregious call, I'd rather the head coach get a technical one time to send a message that Jalen Brunson got slapped in the face or whatever. Let the head coach do it, not the players, because then, like you said, the Magic know that they're in the player's head.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, we got to stop whining, get back. Sim, what did the Magic shoot from the three-point line tonight? Do you have that?
Yes, sir. I got it. Let's see. Tonight, the Orlando Magic shot 48.8% from the three-point.
From three?
No, I'm sorry. That was from the field. 36.4% from the three-point line.
36.4. Okay.
It's
Yeah, I thought they
48
got a
in the
lot of
second
open
half.
shots. I didn't love our defense at all, and that affects. I mean, I know our pace numbers wasn't just because we were playing faster in the half court, but we were taking the ball out way too much tonight. Sim, on offense, I don't think we got into the paint enough. Like, when I say the paint, I think we got some fadeaway jumpers like Deuce and Brunson at the elbow late in the shot clock. But I'm talking about getting all the way into the teeth of the defense. I don't feel like they pushed this out. I don't think Brunson did a good job. I don't think anybody did a good job getting into the paint consistently to open that defense up.
Right.
And our guys, one thing, look, Brunson does pump fake a little bit. I'll give him that sometimes, but our guys got to be way much better. They got to learn how to pump fake better. Against a team, you got to get these guys up in the air, get to the free throw line. All of the guys on this basketball team, I think, need to learn how to use the pump fake, and they also just got to get by their man consistently so we can start the ball movement.
Mm-hmm. I feel.
I mean, look, Bridges has had a nice year. OG has been good, but I thought tonight those guys, to me, when they caught the ball, they were going laterally. They weren't going north and south. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go back and watch it, but I didn't see that. Sam.
We do that a lot in this offense anyway. Especially, we were talking about last game. We were talking about the handoffs, the dribble handoffs, right?
Yeah.
And, that's always a lateral, horizontal play, right? That's never going towards the basket. All right. So we do a lot. If you really pay attention, we pass the ball around the perimeter a lot, looking for a better shot. And trying to, hopefully eventually we get going towards the basket, but we do go horizontal a lot, lateral.
But yeah, that's true. And I don't get me wrong, I like the dribble handoffs, but I think an adjustment needed to be made in this game against Orlando doesn't play. There's not a lot of teams that play Orlando in the league. Detroit does, but OKC does. But to me, I would have went away from the dribble handoffs because they were overplaying everything. I would have liked more, maybe straight up pick and rolls, even with Bridges and OG too.
Mm-hmm.
Just I needed to get in there to open those guys up. I needed pump fakes. I needed to get to the free throw line. I needed other people to get some. I'll go back and watch them. I didn't think our threes, some of them were open, but I didn't like a lot of the threes we got. I thought we could have had cleaner looks if we just worked the offense better.
Right.
That's just my personal opinion. I'll go back and watch it.
And going side to side right now, and maybe Mike Brown did recognize that, okay, we're not getting to the basket. We're staying perimeter oriented, but didn't want to break them learning the system, and maybe going forward or in the future, once he feels like everyone has the system, now we make some adjustments. Okay, forget the handoff. We're just gonna go straight pick and roll to the cup. We're gonna play in a 1-4 set, and we're going to pick and roll to the basket or something like that. Who knows? So maybe it's still part of the process of learning the offense. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, would you agree? Let me ask you this. Would you agree that Okay, Miami's a good defense. I actually think Friday is a good like that. We'll go right back at it. That'll actually be a very good test. After we'll see if we can adjust better to it. But I just, to me, maybe look. They showed the beautiful ball movement in the system against, let's be honest, some inferior teams. This was a good test defensively. Miami, we lost early in the season. We need to prove it. We need to prove that this offense can function at a high level against a really good defense. So it's a work in progress. I'm not going to freak out. I didn't like the rebounding tonight either, so that was another problem. I didn't like the rebounding. I didn't really like anything. But maybe you want to say Landry Shamet was okay for at stretches, fine. But Clarkson, I gave a lot of praise to last night. He was nobody played well. But I'll just leave you with this one thing. My things coming into the year is I thought it was by committee, the ball handling. I thought tonight against a really good defense, I thought we struggled, I thought at times handling the ball. I thought Bridges struggled handling it. Again, at the trade market, we'll see. I don't want to freak out after one game. I still think the Knicks need to get better at handling the basketball or maybe getting a veteran guard. And I really believe we got to get into that paint more. Okay. Brunson can do it. Bridges can do it a little bit. Clarkson can do it. But when you play a good defensive team that is overplaying everything like that, I need to get into that paint, Sim, because they got to sit on our shooters the whole game. And we never opened them up. I just felt like, and that's why we were playing from behind the whole game, because we couldn't get stops. And I didn't think we got in there all the way to the rim. Did we have, how many actual layups besides a couple, maybe from Brunson, did we get in this basketball game? I'll go back and watch, but
we had 48 points in the paint. They had 50.
Okay.
Straight. Which you said the most important thing, and you forgot how important it is. They're a good defensive team. It wasn't that we couldn't
Orlando.
Get in the paint.
Yeah, they are.
It wasn't that we not good at getting into the paint. Is that they were, when we got into the paint, they collapsed. Any layup we did get was contested, make or miss. And you seen OG get stripped trying to attack. You know what I mean? Twice. I think you seen Brunson get stripped trying to attack. You know what I mean? These guys are great defenders all around on that team. From the guards.
Yeah, no, I'm giving Orlando credit. Look, you're right, Tony. Some of it, I do think Orlando played a very clean. When I say clean, sure, they were aggressive, but like a very fundamentally sound defensive concept game that you have to give them some credit. I think part of it is Orlando was motivated. They were 5-6 on the year, and you're right, Tony. They played a very good defensive game. I just think we need to learn how to be stronger when we get in there against trees, whatever, they're like OG, be stronger. Mikal, when you get in there, be stronger. Crisper passes. Also, I thought the screening tonight, when you play a really good defensive team, every little thing matters. I thought the screening was poor. I saw a lot of times Mitchell Robinson. I'm not blaming Mitchell Robinson, okay? I'm just saying I didn't feel like he was giving the forceful screens that he can do a better job. I thought he was late to set screens. I'm not just calling him out, okay? That was just an example because I don't like to just call out one guy. But we'll be better. I don't want to freak out. Let's hope Jalen's okay. He's probably going to be out for a little bit, but hang in there, Sam. It was disappointing, but this is what it's good for us. I think this is good for us because it's early in the season, but again, some of the things that we pointed out about the team need to improve, and this was a test, and we failed tonight.
And we have to remember that, we talked about it in the last show, that when teams begin to strategize, there's more stuff on tape. Every game, there's more stuff on tape. When teams begin to strategize against us and start to figure out how to shut down some of the things that we've been doing, how do we respond? Right? And so now here's an example. How do we respond? They shut down some things that we want to do. How do we respond? How do we come back? Right? How do we work on those things? How do we figure out how to counteract those things? Right? And then the next time we play Orlando, okay, they did this, we're going to do that. And
I'm with you.
And I want to point this out. I'm going to say this in defense of Mike Brown before anyone starts to say this because we heard it all last year, right? I haven't seen it in the chat yet, okay? But it's very hard to make in-game adjustments. I'm sorry. It just really is. Because it's the way that you see the game. You're seeing the game on the floor from the coach. You're seeing the game on the floor. Like you're looking at the players here, 3-dimensional. So it's hard, and then you're in the midst of the action. It's hard to see what's going on. But when you look at it on tape, you see it from a totally different angle, and the game looks slower. When you're playing the game, it's so much faster than what we see on television. Right? Mm-hmm. So much more action going on, so much faster, not to mention you're excited. Right? It's hard to make those in-game adjustments. It really is hard. And some coaches can be great at doing it, or they have really good assistant coaches that are looking at specific things or whatever, but it's very hard. And even your coaches that you say make the best adjustments, they are still doing it from game to game. It's just they have a whole bag of tricks and list of different adjustments to use when something happens. Mm-hmm. Because, well, Eric Spoelstra's been there for mad years. Right? So he knows his team in and out. Backwards, forwards, side to side. Mm-hmm. He knows them. He knows who they are. Right?
And he's probably been doing it long enough where he could use the play from an old playbook.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And say, exactly. All right, he plays similar to this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me give him the old Chris Bosh play.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean?
And not to mention Eric Spoelstra, because a lot of people point out Eric Spoelstra. Eric Spoelstra was a video guy. It was his job to break down video. Right? So as a coach, he's going back and looking, he's breaking it down himself. So it is difficult to make in-game adjustments. And you can make little in-game adjustments, but big in-game adjustments normally come game to game. So the next time we play Orlando, you'll see some adjustments.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm not going to freak out. It's early in the year. We looked great at times so far this year. We've looked bad at times. It's early. But what Tony and you have said, I agree with. We got to, whatever happens on the floor, you got to be mentally tough. I don't care what the refs are doing. You got to be physically tough. And we failed tonight in both of those departments, in my opinion. I think we will take the lessons from it. But if we are going to go to where we all want to go, I don't care how much talent's on the floor. We need to be smarter, and we need to be physically and mentally tough.
Yeah.
I'm giving Orlando credit. They got a nice team over there. We can beat that team. But we're going to have to learn some things. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk Friday, all right?
Yeah, no doubt. Appreciate you, Spree. Have a good one,
all right,
bro.
man.
Peace.
Take care, guys.
Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me run through this box score right quick. For the Orlando Magic, Franz Wagner, 28 points, 9 rebounds. Desmond Bane, great pickup for Orlando. I know there's a lot of people that was like, oh, he's not going to make them this and that. That's a great pickup. 22 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists for Desmond Bane. 17 points for Anthony Black. 14 points for Jalen Suggs. Banchero only had 4 points tonight.
Only played
12 minutes.
A little bit into the second quarter.
Only played 12 minutes. Badazzi, 10 points, 3 rebounds. 124 points from the Orlando Magic. Looking at the game stats, ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks got out-rebounded 49-37. Not something that we had been seeing over the past couple of games. That goes into toughness. 29 assists for Orlando, only 20 for the Knicks. 10 steals by both teams. 4 blocks from Orlando, 3 from the Knicks. The Knicks 14 turnovers tonight. Orlando 15. The Knicks only shot 44.3% from the field and 30.6% from the three-point line. while Orlando was 48.8% from the field and 36.4% from the three-point line, although they took two less shots than us. They were making shots. 84.8% from the free throw line for Orlando. The Knicks, 78.3%. Orlando beat us in the battle in the paint by 2, 50-48. Second chance points, Orlando 16-11. Fast break points, Orlando 20-19. They basically dominated the basketball game. Not a good one for the Knicks, but it's expected that it's going to happen, right? It's expected that it's going to happen. Your thoughts about, let's talk about this and then we'll head up out of here. If Brunson is out, who starts at point guard? Normally Landry Shamit's been starting when Mitchell Robinson is out. Does Landry Shamet start? You go with Deuce? Or do you say, let's go with Tyler Kolek and keep the rotation the same?
I could see Kolek. I was going to say I would start Clarkson.
Okay.
But I could see Kolek just to keep everything else the same. If it's for that reason, I could see it. But I would start Clarkson. I think that would give him an opportunity to maybe break loose. You know what I mean? We've seen some improvement over the season so far.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
yeah, I don't know. I thought Deuce would have got to start over Shamet. So the fact that Shamet gets those starts when Mitch is out,
right,
he might want to keep the rotation the way it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? You could sub Kolek out at any time. Right. I mean, there's no obligation to it.
How much will it depend on if Mitch is also playing that night?
Yeah, that I think that matters as well. I think that matters as well.
Yeah.
If Mitch is not playing, then maybe it's Deuce. Maybe it's then it's up for grabs, really.
Yeah. Carol 420 says Deuce should be the starter. At Canberra says Deuce. Nostalgic Nick says Jordan Clarkson. Carol 420 says I like Clarkson as a spark off the bench. Yeah, East Blue Jules said, nah, I say Deuce or Shamet. We'll see how that goes, man. And if Brunson is out, Brunson's our leading scorer. He's the leader. He's the captain. He's the leader, right? Who runs the team?
Running through Cat. Especially if you start in Deuce or Shamet, you know what I mean? Like someone other that can't really still create for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be a game where you try to explore, Cat at the elbow. What can you run through there? You know what I mean? With guys running around, screening for each other, spacing the floor and see how creative Cat can get with his passing and his dominance.
Yeah. For anyone just joining us, Jalen Brunson left Madison Square Garden in a walking boot and crutches. We are hoping that it's all precautionary, right? Nothing too serious, but just precautionary to keep him off of his ankle or foot or whatever it is during this time. If they practice tomorrow, he probably won't practice, right? And just get treatment on his ankle. Let's hope that let's hope that it's good and it's just precautionary. Would hate to lose Brunson for a few games. I mean, I don't see it being anything more than a couple of games, a few games that he would have to miss. Just looking at the what happened. I think he continued to play for a couple of minutes. They called a timeout afterwards, and he sat down right after that. Yeah. Okay.
He fouled and went to the locker room.
Okay. For some reason, I thought he played for a couple of minutes.
He shot the free throws. He
Oh,
fouled.
he shot
and
the free
then
throws.
walked.
That's right. He shot the free throws. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he shot the free throws. Yeah, let's hope that it's just a tweak. And that's it. I'm sure we'll get some kind of report about it. Maybe.
No. It'll be questionable, and then he's either gonna be playing or not.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. It's questionable.
That's basically, that's how the Knicks go. No lies told. That's how they go. That's what they do. It's crazy.
I was doing a whole show talking about playing without Brunson.
Right. And then he plays.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Detroit Pistons are leading the Eastern Conference right now at 10-2. And I don't think that's a mistake, ladies and gentlemen. We knew that they were going to be a good basketball team coming into this season, and they're good. They're on an 8-game win
Ivy
streak.
still hasn't played.
Say that again?
Jaden Ivey still hasn't got back.
Exactly. And this team is 10-2, and I don't think that's a fluke. Cleveland's 8-4, the Knicks 7-4, Philadelphia 7-4, Miami 7-5, Milwaukee 7-5. That rounds out the top 6. Toronto is 6-5, Chicago 6-5, Atlanta 6-5, Orlando now 6-6. That rounds out your top 10. So those 7, 8, 9, and 10 are the playing teams at this point in time. The Celtics are 6-7, Charlotte's 4-7. The Brooklyn Nets, Indiana Pacers, and the Washington Wizards all have 1 win. Out west, OKC, who are playing the Lakers right now, they're 11-1. The Spurs are 8-2. Denver's 8-2. Los Angeles is 8-3 without LeBron. Houston is 7-3. Minnesota 7-4. That rounds out your top 6. Then Portland is 6-5. Phoenix 6-5. Golden State 6-6, and Utah's 4-7. That rounds out your playing teams. And then you got Memphis at 4-9. Then you got the Clippers 3-7. Sacramento 3-8. Dallas 3-8. And the Pelicans are 2-9. So far this season, what are your surprises, Tony? Any surprises?
Individual performance wise?
Team. Well, okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say will probably be Austin Reeves. And it's not even that I didn't think he was capable of those games. I didn't know he could be that consistently putting up those numbers. That that surprised me. Like he's definitely about to get paid, whether it's from the Lakers or somewhere else.
Yeah, the Lakers are actually one of the surprises for me because they don't have LeBron. I know they have Luka there, but they don't have LeBron, and they're 8-3 on the season.
Yeah, but he's part of the reason why they're my surprise team too. You know what I mean? Like Luka putting up 40. Yeah, I could see that. You know what I mean? Or leading the league in scoring, I could see that. Austin Reeves being a legit number 2 guy and the number 1 guy when both those guys, when Bron and Luka's out.
Right.
That's you know what I mean? Like, because I always liked him. I thought he would be a perfect fit next to Brunson. Obviously not a defensive guy, but we always talked about somebody who could create their own shot.
Now, the Lakers are getting demolished tonight. They're down 102-69 to the Thunder.
Oof.
Yeah, they're getting smacked.
Well, that is the Thunder.
Yeah, that's the Thunder, right. The Hawks are beating Sacramento 89-57. The Clippers are beating the Nuggets 68-61. The Hornets beat the Bucks 111-100. The Pistons beat the Bulls 124-113. The Celtics beat the Grizz 131-95, and the Cavaliers beat the Miami Heat 130-116. The Rockets over the Wizards 135-112. The Blazers over the Pelicans 125-117. The Warriors over the Spurs 125-120. And the Suns over the Mavs 123-114. So I don't know if any surprises for me right now. No, probably not. Besides the Lakers without LeBron, that's about it. I think. Maybe
I got a
Maybe
nine.
San
I got a nine.
Antonio. Maybe San Antonio.
Nah, I knew they was gonna take a step. I got a nine. Next question.
Mm-hmm.
Ja Morant for LaMelo Ball. Who says no?
Ja Morant for LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, it's Charlotte. Who says no? Charlotte or Memphis?
Charlotte, baby. LaMelo was marketable as well. But he doesn't have the baggage.
He also has no winning experience.
That's true.
Like they may see Ja as a guy that elevates the team, not you know what I mean? Like, I mean, granted, take away all the baggage, and, you know what I mean? But like, just they I don't think they lose star power. You might be right, by the way, about who says no. I'm just saying I don't think they lose fan power, star power, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, in that move, but they may feel like he elevates them to like a play-in team or playoff team
Yeah.
that LaMelo hasn't done yet.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know. I like it's hard for me to say who says no.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it.
I think they both win that.
Yeah. Sean Richards said the Clippers being ass is surprising. Yeah. That with the talent with the players they have over there, you know what I'm saying, to be as bad as they are, that is a little surprising. Right now,
I mean, not to me.
I always thought that they didn't really put a team together. They just threw some guys together and kept trying to throw people out there together. You know what I'm saying? And just throwing paper at the wall to see what sticks. Man, no
If
real
they
rhyme or
decide
reason.
if they decide to break it up, who's the best asset? And that don't mean best player. You know what I
I
mean?
don't know.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
I
Sean.
think they get something nice for Zubac.
Oh, okay. Sean also said Sim thought the Bulls was nice 5 games in. The Bulls are 6-5 and the Knicks are 7-4. So what are you talking about? The Bulls are a decent team right now. We'll see if they continue, but they're a decent team right now.
The Pelicans being that bad is surprising. To me, that's more surprising than the Clippers, actually.
Yeah. He said the Bulls were 6-0. Okay. I get it. I understand. They're on a 5-game losing streak. I get that. And we'll see if they stay or we'll see if they slide.
Oh, we set it off for them.
But the Knicks lost to them, and their records aren't that far apart right now. So I expect the Knicks to separate from them, but I'm not gonna front on them. Don't front on anybody, because you can lose to anybody. Don't front on them. Let me get to my last call of the night before I get up out of here. We got Corey from Rochester. Corey, what's good with you, brother? How you feeling?
Well, I'm all right, man. I know it's a sports channel, but sometimes I just go through some other situations, not just with sports, but just dealing with life, with other people and stuff like that. I just need you and Tony trying to help me get some encouragement to figure out what I just need to do because people be trying to sometimes you know say some negative stuff, and then just like for instance they want to just say like stuff to me, and then when things don't go their way, then they either want to say something to you, and then like want to cut you out or stuff like that. And then sometimes when I feel like I don't want to be bothered, they still be trying to pressure me to feel like they don't care about how your feelings are.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm supposed to be trying to always stay up, but life ain't always going to be up. Life is always ups and downs, no matter what. So I mean, what kind of advice that you, Slim, and Tony could try to help me out with, and hopefully, this could help me carry on.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing, Tony. I mean, Corey. You know who you
Hmm.
are, right? You know who you are, and you know what it is that you're doing in life. Everybody else doesn't really matter much.
Yeah.
It's about you knowing what you're doing and ride with the people that ride with you. You don't have to be everybody. You ain't got to ride with everybody. Ride with the people that ride with you. Love the people that love you, and
I
nobody else
mean,
really matters, bro.
sometimes it's okay to love people from a distance.
Exactly.
Like just because you gotta distance yourself doesn't mean you don't love somebody.
That's right.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true.
There's gonna be people in your life that just ain't healthy for you,
Yeah.
and you get them from around your circle because
Word.
you can't do anything to help anybody else if you're not healthy. So you gotta take care of your health first, right? Keep them people from outside your circle. You got to keep some people in there that's gonna tell you the truth, but it's got to be constructive criticism in the way and they got to tell you the truth out of love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But those people that are just they want to tear you down, they can let them go tear somebody else down. Get them out your life.
And sometimes you just need a break. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
Yeah.
you know when to come back. You know what I mean? You know when to reach out. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just that alone time.
yep.
Sometimes you need that. You know what I mean?
And
Sometimes you go ahead, sir.
yeah, and I'm glad you called in and asked because you know
But
it's something that you can't hold in. You know,
Nah.
you know you,
And then God bless my boy Mike who passed away. He used to do security. The key thing he always told me, and I always kept this in mind, when he say nobody don't know you better than you know yourself,
mm-hmm,
no matter what you go through. And then the one thing I feel like when I feel like if I'm in one of the moods, not trying to say to be nasty or be disrespectful, but some people just don't understand me, and I know it's not from everybody to understand me. And I don't want everybody to try to understand me how I know how to understand myself. But if you don't feel me how the way I am, regardless of what kind of moods I be in, that could tell me like if you don't really care about how you feel about me like you think you do, but I'm not gonna let you just control me and try to, treat me any type of way or try to think you could get over me. Now that ain't never gonna happen.
right,
Not trying to prove to be a tough guy or nothing, but still, come on. I have the right to sometimes feel how I feel. I mean, I grew up through parents who taught me how life was. Life is going to be ups and downs no matter what. And people try to think, oh, life is not supposed to always be ups and downs. Yes, it is. You
that's right,
wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that.
that's right. Life is gonna be ups. It's gonna be ups and downs. It's all about how you bounce back.
Indeed.
It's about how you bounce back. And sometimes you need people in your corner to help you bounce back, but it's got to be people that love you, trust you, and that you trust and love. You know, and that's who you ride with.
Hmm.
If somebody is hurting you
Well,
emotionally,
I thought. Oh, go ahead. What'd you say?
if someone's hurting you emotionally, then it might be best that they're not in your life.
Okay, true indeed.
Yeah, but I'm glad you called and asked the question because you always got to have we don't like know each other close, but that's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's always nice to have somebody to be able to bounce things off of.
Word. That's why I
And
thank God for y'all, man, because as much times we connect a few times, but it's more things in different life, of what's going on. Not trying to, say disrespect your sports channel,
nah,
but it's real life matters too.
sometimes, sometimes you need, you need an outlet. And I can tell you right now, everybody in the chat is, they're rooting for you. You're looking in the chat, people are like, yo, we got your back, and we support you. So yeah, I'm glad you called.
And I appreciate that. I mean, that's why y'all like my real brothers.
All right. I feel that. You know what I'm saying? We're here for you, bro. We're here for you. And if you need help in any other kind of way, let me know.
I definitely will.
Right? Because, there's programs, there's things out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No
So
doubt.
Did you watch the game?
Well, I kind of, squeaked through, but I was keeping my eye on the score on my phone, but it wasn't looking good, so
Yeah.
it wasn't worth watching.
Yeah. Okay. I understand that. Definitely understand that. Well, listen. Anytime you feel like you need to call, call. If you're on social media, if you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
Yeah.
DM me at nothing but Knicks. It's all the same at, and I'll chat with you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I just want to say, I know you said that you don't want to disrespect the sports channel, but me finding Sims channel and me doing my channel is therapy. So that's my way of you know leaving all the outside stuff in the outside and having some time to
Yeah.
take my mind off of real stuff. You know what I mean? So any way we
Mm-hmm.
can help. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it's for.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Corey, you good for tonight? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good for tonight. Just sitting outside, just woosah, just trying to, stay calm and cool, not letting nothing try to, like they say, nothing to get your blood pressure up. Just trying to stay calm and
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Try to find something that's gonna take your mind off of it if you can. Try to relax for the night.
No doubt.
No doubt. Corey, I appreciate you, man. Remember, hit me up on the social medias, and we could chat.
Okay.
All right. Appreciate you, bro.
All right. Y'all be safe.
You
Peace
too.
out.
Peace. Well, that's sometimes that's what we're here for, Tony. It's not just about the sports.
I mean, facts.
You know what I mean? Not just about the sports. So,
But I mean, the good thing is, like I said, the chat has helped me 100,000 times. You know what I mean? You have helped me 100,000 times. So like for anybody, if we could pay it back, you know what I mean, and give you an ear or give you some advice, I'm sure it ain't nothing.
yeah, Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna head off for tonight. We'll be on tomorrow, and we talked about the Losers Lounge. We're still gonna do a little bit of a Losers Lounge type of a thing tomorrow. Mixed with some other content. So be ready for that. All right, Tony. Any last words you want to get in before we rock?
It's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? And we'll bounce back.
No doubt.
And Corey, you'll bounce back. You know what I mean? Anybody going through something, man, just take your time with it. We'll bounce back.
Yeah, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? You will bounce back. It's all about how you get up off the floor. East Blues Drew said, you helped me to Sim and Tony. Y'all help us. You know what I'm saying? Mad times we might be going through something, and just being here on the chat with y'all help us escape that. So, we might not talk about it on the air, but we talk about it to each other all the time. And people in the chat, y'all keep our mind off of, those things. So, it's a community. It's what we do. Anyway, folks, we up out of here. We appreciate you. Be easy. Spread love.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.